founders. Hello, Indivisibles. Welcome to our end of month Labor Day weekend members general meeting. Thank you everybody for your attendance and for your participation in saving democracy. We've got a few speakers here today. Just a little update on what's going on in the world. We've discovered that the tariffs have been declared, most of them anyway, illegal, unconstitutional. We have the National Guard being deployed in one city, Washington D.C., and multiple coming, and we kind of think that it's the beginning of the flexing of the Americans' dictatorship of putting troops on American streets throughout the nation. So we're fighting back against that. We've got the CDC in turmoil. We have the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We're not sure if that we're going to be able to believe what they're putting out in the future. We've got the Republicans, the GOP, freaking out about the midterms to the point where they're having to try to rig the election with their redistricting. And although the President of the United States said earlier this week he doesn't believe he's a dictator, we believe that this is all of what dictators do. And we appreciate all of your efforts to help us push back against this. Coming up in 2026, we've got a major midterm election to where we can hopefully put an end to a lot of this nonsense. So anyway, I'd like to start with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Liberty and justice for all. Citizen or non-citizen, our founders, went out of their way to say all men are created equal. They didn't say that all citizens are created equal. They said all men, and as we've come to learn, women are included as well. So I'd like to acknowledge our committee people and our leadership team members. I've got Christelle Martin over here. Michelle Sylvester. I've got a newly formed or member of our leadership team, Karen Sampa Katz, who does our Facebook and membership approvals on the social media on Facebook. We got Mimi in the back, who's one of our committee people. We got Steve Grable over here, who's our events coordinator. We've got the leadership team member, Jerry Kinyanji. We've got Sarah Mucha over here, who's also the events coordinator. Is anybody that I left out? Anybody I've left out? Okay. Do we have any elected officials or candidates in the audience? Got over here, we got Daniel Eisinger. Daniel Eisinger is our public defender. Appreciate your efforts. Saw Daniel talk a couple of months ago at Speaking Up for America, and he's doing a great job. He's taken over from Carrie Howard, right? So I think Carrie is still involved, and trying to help things along as we move further into the future. So we appreciate it. We had one scrub. We had on our leadership, our speaker bill, Victoria Doyle, who's a candidate for House District. House District 22. She got COVID, and she tried to blame it on
RFK, but I'm not sure if that's really what the case is, but it's a good alibi anyway. So she won't be here with us today. So we have Josh Kaufman, we have Claudia Mendoza, and we have Edith Bush. Josh Kaufman, you here?
Right here.
There you go. Josh, welcome. I'm going to introduce you first. Josh is going to talk about Know Your Rights, basically for citizens and non-citizens, know your rights. What happens when you're an undocumented person, but you're here in the country and you're trying to follow the law by doing the things like showing up for a hearing. And all of a sudden, and the reason why you're in the country is because you were understood that our country had asylum laws that we were going to uphold. Well, the current administration basically has wiped that away and said no asylum laws. The border crossings are down because of the fact that in the Biden administration, hardly nobody was swimming across rivers or going through deserts. They were using the asylum rules. They were presenting themselves legally at our border, and they were given hearing dates. And that's all pretty much gone by the wayside, is the way I understand it, Josh. So maybe you can, clear me on that as well. So the ACLU was founded in 1920, and they've been doing yoga work. They are obviously a nonprofit foundation, and like us, they survive by donations and people becoming members. So if you're not a member of the ACLU, I think it's like annual membership, right? So if you go to their website and contribute, you get all sorts of information as to what's going on. But they are, part of the front line in America as far as, keeping the rights of individuals and citizens from being trampled on by, rogue administrations. So with that, I'd like to welcome Josh Kaufman. And we had a little bit of a problem at one of our protests the other day, so I'm going to ask Josh at the end of this presentation to help us out. We did some research of our own, and we're hoping.
An opportunity, I like that. Good. Thank you so much. Appreciate the introduction. Hey everyone, my name is Joshua Kaufman. I work as a voting rights organizer and also a South Florida organizer for the ACLU of Florida. I am so happy to be great turnout to go here. It's great to see so many people active, involved, willing to commit their time and resources and energy towards these efforts, because there's just so much work to be done in these matters. And I'll go into how to get involved, what's going on right now, next steps in a couple seconds. First, just a little bit of background. I'm born and raised in Florida. I'm from Broward County, Hollywood. I went to the University of Florida, and I moved back to Deerfield Beach. So I work all over Palm Beach County, all over Broward County, and all over Miami-Dade County as well. So I do a whole lot of driving, and I got the mileage, which they pay for, which is great. I mostly focus on voting rights, but at the ACLU of Florida, we focus on 4 main areas: voting rights, reproductive justice, immigration, and protesting. And I'll start off with immigration for a second, because that's kind of what the intro was, and also I think that's a lot of attention is being paid to right now for people, because as what was just said, it's just an all-out attack on our rights, right? Every single day, whether it's nationally or in our own state, we are seeing a subversion of the rule of law, an absolute attack on our Constitution and the liberties and values that we hold very dear in this country. And something I want to emphasize is that this is not just an attack on any one person or group of people or population, right? We focus a lot on the immigrant community because that is the community that's at the front line right now. They are the ones who are facing the brunt of these constitutional or unconstitutional attacks on our liberties, and I think that's where the focus needs to be. But at the same token, I don't want to pretend like this is only one person's rights at stake, right? When we talk about freedom of speech, or we talk about due process, or we talk about voting rights, once they take away the right to due process for one person, they've taken it away from all of us. Once they say, oh, you don't have a right to free speech, and maybe you don't really like that person, maybe you don't like their speech, what that looks like, what they're doing is taking it away from all of us. There's no your right to free speech, there's no my right to free speech, there's just our right to free speech. And the same applies to immigration. So this really is a fight that we are all in together, and we need to push back against the attacks every single step of the way. Now, we actually have a whole Know Your Rights for Immigration presentation that we hold quite regularly. We do it in both English and Spanish, and we're hoping to launch it in other languages pretty soon. That presentation is over 45 minutes long, and it regularly goes over an hour, so I can't go through all the rights for immigration right now, but I want to start off with some framing and then go into some specific ways to take action and what that looks like. So framing, right now, a lot of our focus is on the negatives, right? The attacks, the uncivil attacks on our civil rights, on our liberties, on the fact that whether it's the police or it's our local council members who aren't having our backs, or it's the state governor, or it's the president themselves who are ignoring the rule of law and trying to take away our rights and liberties, it's a lot of negative facts, right? It's tough. And the reason I mention that is because there is each an emotional battery that we have that once you do this work, you can only do so much of it before you go, I'm burnt out. This is too much. I can't keep doing this. I need to step back. And I've seen that over and over again. And what I tell people is that this is not a fight that's going to be won or lost in a day. It is a fight we're going to have to show up to every single day, forever, right? Because constitutional rights are not something that we've won at any point, and we can just lay down our arms and say, like, okay, well, we're done, like we did it, we won our right to free speech. No, there are always actors who are going to try and take away our right to free speech, or our right to due process, or any other right to talk about, right? So I do want to focus on the wins that we've had, the good things that have happened that we can kind of say, hey, this is working. We are taking action, we are pushing back, and there are some, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So of course, as all of you probably know already, I have to mention it, alligator Alcatraz. And honestly, the work and attention and efforts of every single person across Florida who joined together, people like yourselves who got active, who promoted this just tenuous thing they were doing where they were making, and someone called a concentration camp in the middle of the Everglades, and just shipping people there, no rights, no right to due process, no access to lawyers. There were several lawsuits going on. I believe those lawsuits will be continuing. We got a huge win in the court system, as you all know, that they are ordering the camp to shut down, and yet it's a loss of $250,000 of our taxpayer dollars, right? Which, look, I want to focus on the lives being impacted. I don't think all about finances, but it's insane that they're taking our own money, our own taxes, and burning it. They're literally setting it on fire. Yes. For what? For nothing. Does anyone here feel safer that they're putting these people who are just trying to live, who work their everyday jobs, who just want to live the American dream, and they're putting them in the middle of the Everglades and then shipping them off to places like Uganda? I don't feel safer from that. I don't feel better about fiscal responsibility, when they burn $250,000 taxpayer dollars. So the fact that we got that camp shut down is a huge win. There's absolutely more work to be done there. They're opening a new detention center in northern Florida. It is a former prison that they are converting to an immigration site. The problem with that is under state law, you do not need to have air conditioning in these prisons. This prison is not equipped with AC. Now, under federal law, when you detain immigrants, you are supposed to have AC in this facility. So what they are saying is that they are going to install air conditioning for them.
Well, they're going to install it in all the state prisons because there aren't any air conditioning in other state prisons.
Yeah, so they're supposed to install on this one because it's federal law, but do we really trust them to do that? To have the interests of these immigrants, these people who are, being detained, right? We'll see. So there's absolutely tons to do. One of the biggest ways to get involved, and I'm sure y'all have heard this before, has anyone heard of raise.is before? Yes, a couple people. Raise.is, RAISE.is. It is an online website you can go to. It has tons of know your rights information for immigrants. If you are detained by the police, it has information on there. It has a hotline number if you'd like to call it and report ICE activity in your neighborhood. It is a great resource. If you can look it up, and also if it's okay, I'm going to ask you, I can send an email afterwards to everyone with the links to that. That would be fantastic. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the way this program is working is that right now we are under attack in so many different areas and in so many different ways. It is very difficult for civil rights organizations like us to keep up, right? ICE and law enforcement is going places they've never gone before, like sensitive sites like schools, churches, and hospitals. They are all over the state. They're moving very aggressively, and they're being very secret about it. So it's really helpful for us is people reporting to that hotline number on raise.is if they encounter any ICE law enforcement, if they encounter any raids in your local area, report that to us, and we can send out a legal observer, someone who does not interact with the agents themselves, but who reports on what's happening. They follow up with the people in the neighborhood, and we figure out exactly where ICE is and what they're up to. And if y'all want to get involved and you want to volunteer as a legal observer for that opportunity, I would love for you to join us. You do not need any legal background to do that. We have a training set up every Friday at 12 p.m. Go through, it's about an hour and a half long. You sign up for specific shifts whenever you're available throughout the week. And then if there's an ICE raid or law enforcement activity in your local area, if we get a report of something, we can deploy you to kind of monitor that situation. So right now, it's really just about keeping up with the state and figuring out what is going on. Potentially, is there anything we can be in contact with and move that into our legal work, right? Because there's tons to do in our legal work department. Our legal department is absolutely slammed with work right now. I want to give them a huge shout out. Is anyone a lawyer in this room, actually? Yes, a couple lawyers. I can never do it. I can never do it. For all respect to you, I love being an organizer. I'm not a lawyer. But that's a huge way to get involved if you are able to. We also, as I said earlier, have those Know Your Rights for immigration presentations. They are both virtual and in person. Again, we can send out a link over email. That would be great. We have a ton upcoming both in English and Spanish. I think a lot of people come to us and they say, you know, Josh, what can I do in this moment? And just spreading around that information on what your rights actually are if you are an immigrant, if law enforcement is detaining you, I think is huge right now, because what we're seeing is there is a huge lack of information among specific communities. And this is not only in the immigrant community itself, but I think a lot of what we can do is spread awareness of these actions to other communities. There are a lot of people, like I talked about earlier, who are just kind of disengaged with the process. Whether they're disillusioned by what is going on and they think they don't can make an impact, or maybe they just think things aren't that bad. And they're like, well, you know, what does it really mean out here? I don't really focus on that. Like, I'm paying attention to the Gators game that was on yesterday, or I'm talking about, you know, I'm thinking about my family and my work. And I think each of us doing advocacy in our own neighborhood, in our own community, talking about our friends, our family, and neighbors, and promoting these articles that are coming out of just the horrible conditions in these detention centers, of the absolutely unconstitutional attacks where they are taking away their due process. Talk lower.
A little bit slow.
Oh, slower. Sorry, I think we have like 15 minutes. There's so much I want to go through. I'll talk a little slower. There's so much each and every one of us can do. We do a public advocacy campaign through the ACLU of Florida, where we train people on communication skills, how to message about these issues, how to talk about immigration, what are the main topics to do, how to pivot away among attacks from people that may, you know, sort of push back on these topics. I think there's just a bunch of different ways to get involved in that topic. Before I want to give a good amount of time for questions. Before I go into that, I also want to talk about protesting, because I know it's a really big issue right now as well, and I think that's very closely tied to the immigration issue, right? There are big elections coming up, and I think up until that point, it is the responsibility of each and every one of us to take ownership of getting people active right now, so it's not a huge just like slam right before election time when, you know, you get those text messages and you get those calls and you get people like, did you hear about this, did you hear about that? It's so easy for people to tune those out. So these protests that have been going on, that I know y'all have been very active in, are amazing. They are getting people active, they are getting people energized, they are getting people involved. The ACLU of Florida's role in this so far has been legal observing, which is different than legal observing for immigration. I'm sure that's seen us out there. What we do is we train volunteers, regular, normal people. You don't have to have a legal background. Go through a training about an hour and a half long, learn what your rights are for protesting. We deploy you to specific protests, give you a vest that says ACLU Legal Observer, and what you do is just monitor any interactions with law enforcement and regular protesters, right? And this kind of has a twofold advantage in that, one, in my personal opinion, when police or law enforcement see the ACLU logo out there, I think that may prevent them from even trying to trample on our First Amendment rights. Sometimes cops, you know, all respect to them, sometimes they'll see what they can get away with in terms of dispersing a protest, right? And if we have an ACLU logo out there, if we have legal observers, I think you can prevent some of that, unrightful dispersal of a protest. And the other hand of this is that if there is an incident, right? If there is something where there is an interaction between law enforcement and a protester, then we can record that, and we have a neutral third-party witness who can explain exactly what happened, and we can use that for further legal action if necessary. This is a huge need. We just started this program this year. We have a ton of volunteers for Broward County, Miami-Dade County, Orange County, Tampa region, Tallahassee, Indiana County, and a little bit in Jacksonville. And we're looking to expand in Palm Beach County. So if anyone's interested in here and you'd like to sign up, it's a great training to have. It goes over Know Your Rights for protesting, and it kind of talks about how you can get involved in that way. So those were a few things I wanted to go over. I think I just got less than 5 minutes left, so I think I can go into Q&A.
Yes, you got 10 minutes.
Name the site again for Raise.
What was that?
Raise. What is the website?
Yes, raise.is, raise.is, yeah. And that should pull it up. There's a ton of great info on there, as well as that hotline if you report any local law enforcement action in your area.
So is that able to take up like videos or anything that people shoot live?
You can't take videos through that site. If you become a legal observer, though, and go through our training and are deployed, we have a whole form and a whole system that you would go through to report anything that you would see in your local area.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see what I'll Yeah.
If you're coming back into the country and they want to look at your phone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
that's...
want them to look at your phone. Can you say no?
So that's a great question. So I'm actually not the freedom of speech organizer, so I can't go into these issues as much. That's something we've done before, and it's a bit of a gray area. My understanding is that we are encouraging people to be as safe as possible if you are going to go through that system, right? And they may or may not be your phone. Do a little, we call it data hygiene on your phone. If you're in single chats, you shouldn't be saving them. You shouldn't really just have everything on your phone accessible. There are specific reasons that they can take your phone and look through it for national security. Sometimes in the past, they've crossed that line of using that as an excuse to look at everyday's, people's information. That's always been wrong, but it's been relatively kind of sparse, I would say, and not too often. But now with this new administration, what they're doing is they are so hell-bent on going after the immigrant population, they're using every single resource they can to just kind of go after just undocumented immigrants, people who have not committed any crimes, people who are just trying to live their lives. And so we are seeing a rise in instances of, TSA officers going through people's phones, looking at their social media, looking at their blogs, and kind of persecuting for the freedom of speech, right? And we see this all over. We see FBI agents who are supposed to go after actual criminals, actual terrorists, actual people who are trying to do us harm, and instead they're going to Home Depot lot and trying to arrest people who are just trying to work their job, right? So we do see a subversion of our entire law enforcement system, and that is a great point I always tell people to emphasize on, in that, again, it's not just the immigrant population that is worse off from these recent changes in how law enforcement is working. It's all of us, right? There are more criminals, more drug traffickers, more human traffickers on the street right now because the agencies that are supposed to go after them are not doing that, and they're just going after families. They're going after kids right now, right? So this hurts us all, absolutely.
So what happens if you say no?
So I will ask our legal department the exact wording to use in terms of my response to that, because I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to give any legal advice that may be incorrect. I think through the TSA system, you do have to submit your information on your phone if they try to push you on it, right? I think that is how the system works in terms of if they believe there's a national security threat, they do have the ability to go through your phone and ask you for that.
Just one quick thing to do with that. I am a naturalized citizen, but I also have a concern about the phones as well. But what I do is I have analog phones, so I put my SIM card and put it in a clean phone. They can look at that phone all they want, there's nothing on it. So if you do have that option, if you've got an analog phone, which means that you can move your SIM card from one device to another, just buy a clean device for your travels. You can still get your calls, you can get your clean texts, and everything else. They ask you to unlock it. Happy to unlock it, look at everything you want in there. Don't have your social media on it. When you come back home, take your SIM card out, put it back on your own phone where you have everything else.
Yeah, I've heard that recommendation before, and that kind of plays in the data hygiene I talked about earlier, of just being as safe as possible. You could say no, and they might just go, okay, fine, like maybe they don't take that seriously, but they may push the issue right now. And that's what we're seeing more and more of them taking the letter of the law and pushing it more and more into gray territory of what they can and can't do. And frankly, I'm going to just call them out. Congress needs to step in, specifically Republicans in Congress, and needs to rein in what's going on right now, and we just haven't seen that at all. And I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon. So, it's kind of a funny matter, but also it's very, very serious, and it's very dangerous on where our country is heading. So, thank you for that question, though.
Another thing on the phone, if you have a password, instead of biometric thing, if you have a password, then you have more of a legal ground to stand on.
Yes, and thank you actually for bringing that up. That's a great point. We have had a problem with the
You can
biometrics.
enable your password stuff and make sure it's letters and not a fingerprint or face print.
Yeah, that's a great
You
point.
have to type it in First Amendment.
Yeah, we've had incidents of people lifting up the phone in people's faces to unlock it. And so if you're worried about that, I would disable that and just have the passcode. So,
I found out that I appear all over the internet with my protest signs. I have been interviewed in the past for the Herald, for the Sentinel, for a bunch of different news organizations, and they actually have my name. Do you know anything about the program Delete Me? Or is it too late?
yeah, I was actually exactly going to recommend that Delete Me. If anyone's not using it, it's a service offered through the ACLU of Florida to our employees. Like I use that. I definitely would recommend it. It
Okay.
scrubs your presence on social media. I think it can only do so much in terms of if you're already out there a ton, but it does make a really big impact. If anyone wants to look into it, Delete Me. It's a great service online. I do recommend that actually.
Yesterday, I went to a protest, and I bought these big glasses at the dollar store. I wore them under my hat, my glasses, and I didn't have my face appear until somebody I know today said, "Oh, I saw you yesterday." I thought I was holding my sign in front of my face.
Yeah, and that's funny, but it's also incredibly sad, right? That we have to feel afraid of expressing our First Amendment right. We have to feel afraid that goons in masks and wearing badges that don't say their name or number are going to come into our house and knock on our door and potentially arrest us and detain us unlawfully. And we have to be afraid of that. It's an incredibly scary time in our country.
It is.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing up that issue of
Some of
privacy.
the protests were from years ago, like Homestead, ICE down, in Gilmore, a long time ago.
It's a very tough time, and a huge thank you to everyone who's been going out and protesting and still kind of pushing forward and defending our liberties, because it's not easy, right? This is not an easy thing we're here to do. So,
I was at a protest yesterday too. I was interviewed. I was happy to be seen, and yet I haven't done any protesting before since college. We talked
Wow.
no. What's going on here with bringing us to an authoritarian oligarchy? I've been very involved. I've been to like 8 protests now. But you mentioned that there's been so much going on, and there's confusion, and here's the confusion I have on due process. The Supreme Court, only 2 decisions came out against Trump, and it was both about immigrants and due process. One was on the Abrego-Garcia 9-0 decision. Another was some other immigration case, 7-2. Yet, aren't all immigrants entitled to a due process hearing before they're deported? Because those ones that were in the prison in El Salvador, when they got traded, I didn't hear that they had any due process hearing before they got traded, and went to Venezuela. I didn't hear about that, and yet nobody's calling it out in terms of violating court orders. And political asylum is an international right. I mean, let's face it, what happened right before World War II with the Spirit of St. Louis, none of those people were able to ask for political asylum, and they went back to, on the ship to Europe, and some of them died in the Holocaust. That's an international right, and I think you were saying this administration won't grant it.
yeah,
Do they deny it in every occasion? Because there are some people who certainly should be entitled to it.
100%, and they are absolutely undermining every aspect of our due process system, where recently they are firing judges who are the ones who are adjudicating those cases, and there's a backlog of cases, and we don't have enough judges. They're firing them and hiring new judges without any immigration experience, who are basically, lackeys of the administration, and are most likely going to be even more severe in rejecting those political asylum cases and other asylum cases. So it's a complete undermining. What I will say, straightforward, and the ACLU has called this out before, the administration, the White House, the administration of the state of Florida has broken the law. Straightforward, they are breaking the law. Sometimes you ask them, they're like, well, what's going on? How are they able to do this? The answer is they're not. They're not supposed to be able to do this. They are breaking the law. And to an extent, they are paying the price for this. Like when you see things like alligator Alcatraz, that was something they went about it in an incredibly legal manner. And now that facility is being shut down at a cost to the taxpayer, right? $250,000. When we look outside. $250 million, yes, of course. Like 214 last time I checked. I think it's getting to 250. And when you go outside the immigration space, you look at the tariffs. I don't know if anyone heard about that. Court recently struck the majority of tariffs that have been enacted, almost 70%, right? So the question is like, not if they're going to get away with these things. The question is, how long will it take before the courts and other actors step in to pull them back, right? And we have seen that. We have seen wins in the court system. They absolutely still work. The rule of law still works. Now, we'll see what the Supreme Court decides on some of these issues, because there's not exactly a lot of faith in those institutions, but there are still ways to kind of push back and prevent a lot of things that have been happening. When Trump went after birthright citizenship, right, signed a whole executive order, he was sued by the ACLU, and so far we have gotten an injunction on that. That's not gone into practice, and as bad as things are right now, there are so many other areas where they could have been worse, and it's only thanks to civil rights organizations, but also people either donating their time, money, energy, or resources, that we're not even worse off situation. So, yeah, I hope that helps to answer the question. But, yeah.
On the protest front, just before you got here yesterday, I asked you a question about something that happened with us Friday, where we were given a Florida statute that said we couldn't be on an overpass with our signs here. We had some of these signs here that we made that said,
Release all Epstein files.
Release all Epstein files. So we did do some research, and we kind of felt like what they were talking about were signs that needed to have a permit.
Like commercial signs.
Commercial signs. Have you been able to
so
into that for
I
us?
just learned about this issue, so I sent an email over to our legal department to get more specific instructions, which they haven't got to me back to me yet.
Okay.
What I'll say is that what we're seeing right now is that there's a lot of laws that are just on the books that police don't typically enforce because there's really no negative impact to them, but they will enforce them if you're annoying them or if they get a political directive to. So the fact that you're talking about the Epstein list, I think that's why they kind of told you to shut it down, especially because DOT went and instructed them to shut it down because they don't want that politically in the news. And I think what got you in trouble potentially, and again, I have to refer to our legal department, is the lights on there. I don't know if I think it was FS 479 they were referring to, right?
Right.
$79.11.
Yeah, and that does talk about having lights as potentially a distraction for drivers near a highway. There are more restrictions. Again, this is politically motivated in my opinion, that if it was talking about something besides the Epstein files, potentially they wouldn't do anything, but that's kind of the legal cover they're using right now. So one thing I'll say is that if you are on public property, which is the sidewalk to a highway or a sidewalk to any street, and you are not blocking the flow of pedestrians or of traffic, you absolutely have a First Amendment right to be there. So if you're just standing there, even if you're holding a flag or something like that, and they're telling you to leave, that's absolutely against the First Amendment. You do have a right to be there. Once it gets more to a gray area, is if there's a local ordinance against a bullhorn or noise ordinance, if you have something like that, or if you have potentially a sign that can present an obstacle to drivers. Obviously, I saw the picture. I don't think it would have presented an obstacle.
We retrofitted them. The first time we used them, it was just lights, and then we just painted the white letters on it. So we have the option to maybe not use the lights if that's what their problem is.
I think that's the legal justification they're using. If you're holding a sign with just painted on letters and you're holding it, I don't see any way they can really tell you to not be there because that is your right to freedom of speech.
I believe that the DOT is trying to strong arm any protest, number one. Number two, we cannot clip into any infrastructure, meaning a pole at the airport when I host the Ogo protest. We cannot tape to a pole, we cannot zip strap to a railing, no. We hold a sign, do all that. So I think that may be part of the issue of the overpasses, because it is.
They were tied in.
It is a sidewalk. You can be in perpetual motion if necessary, carrying those signs, crossing back and forth.
You should be totally fine. Again, I'll refer to our legal department. I guess is the answer. But again, we've seen all the time, even in that situation, we've gone under overpasses and you've seen people with flags or signs tied up, and like the police never tell them to leave, right? So remember the Epstein files, they don't talk about it. So it's one of those things that I think they're using a lot of their advantage in that way. And yeah, I'll give you some of the answer, right? I think it's tied in the lights.
Experience is driving back. I live in Chicago, I live in town, so every day, 5 days a week, I would do this, right? And every Friday when Trump was running the second term, whatever, over to the overpass, there were 20 or 30 people and a full-blown ambulance dressed in Trump crackers.
Yeah. I
Because
know.
I was so bumper to bumper traffic, looking at that crap, like, and they're all with their signs and all that, and then that's where they first learned that they couldn't have anything go hanging onto the, and because they don't want stuff dropping down at the small, down at the high. So I get it, but no stronger on us if we're trying to follow the law.
I know, it's uneven
We
enforcement
want
of the law.
clarification so we can walk courageously in the
Yeah.
right?
Is there any more questions?
When you talk to your legal team about the light issue here, that's just the same as a lit billboard.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
Yeah,
a
those-
commercial license.
Yeah, they have a license for it, so they're allowed to do
that's
something like that.
permitted and
Yeah, so I think it's the lights, I think it's attaching it. If you're just there standing holding a sign, I don't believe there's anything they can tell you to move away. It's a freedom of speech issue, you're on public property.
Right.
Any more questions? I think my time's coming in.
One more, is the raise, is that something that is part of ACLU or is it a different organization altogether?
Yeah, so Raise.is is a coalition managed by the ACLU of Florida and a bunch of other immigration organizations all working together. We are looking for people to be just legal observers, but we are also looking for individuals to be coordinators for their entire region, help manage it in that way. So there's a ton of ways to get involved. It's through us. If you want to contact me, I'll say after. That's a great resource. And then I think I don't have any more questions, so I'll just end it. Thank you all for having me here today. I really appreciate it. After they want to ask me any specific questions, what I do have for you today are these ACLU Florida Know Your Rights cards. They have a little QR code on the back that if you scan it, it shows you know your rights for immigration, for freedom of speech, if police pull you over, for liberty, anything. It's on that QR code. I have a bunch of them. I'll stay after and hand them out, and then hopefully we can send out an email about links to get involved, legal observing for immigration and protesting. So, yeah.
One last thing, real quick. Do you know League Alert?
Do I know what?
League? Florida, that's always on TV.
I don't think so.
ACLU. League Alert works for ACLU.
For national, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably for national. So I don't know them, but yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
ACLU, great organization.
Real quick, how many people in here feel that they have a strong personality? How many? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. How many of you like to tell people what to do? There's 18 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my gosh, almost the exact same people. Josh, go see Josh after.
Thank you, Josh. One of the things that didn't come up was the 287G agreements that the federal government has been trying to, use the local police departments. September 5th, there's a protest going on sponsored by the FAU Democratic Club in Boca Raton. We're going to participate in that. We're doing a sort of a demonstration that if we want to talk to Stephanie Camp at the end of the meeting, we're trying to basically push back against the 287G agreements as to how they're implemented and how far departments will go. And, even in some instances where we think that even like somebody like FAU might even, withdraw altogether. But right now they've basically deputized their, campus police to assist with ICE. And, you get international students, they don't need to be going to school underneath those kind of conditions where they're afraid that they might be, apprehended and absconded. So anyway, we are working on that. It's one of our initiatives. It's part of the Resistance Art Action Team. And we just need participants and performers for September 5th in that regard. So we did have our second speaker, Victoria Doyle, today canceled, but we do have a candidate for District 21, U.S. Congress. Ed O'Connor, you want to say a couple words quick? Make it short and sweet. Ed's got some really nice literature that if you grab on the way out, would be great.
First of all, Martin, you more time if he had spent so much time up here talking. So just real quickly, something that was said by the last speaker, which I enjoyed an awful lot listening to, is that we're not going to accomplish anything until we take back the Congress.
Right.
Doesn't matter what we do. It's irrelevant. Demonstrations, signs, no, with all due respect, that's not going to change a thing if we don't get out and vote and get our people in office. So I'm running for Brian Mast's seat.
Yes.
Let me make one thing clear. I'm not running against Brian Mast. I'm running against the Republican control of the Congress of the United States. So, just a little about me. I'm a patent lawyer. I have a degree in physics. Incidentally, if I get elected, I'll be the only person in Congress, Senate, or the White House with a technical background. All these people are making laws and regulations about AI and about drones and about hacking, and they don't know anything about it. And I've tried many a case with an expert on the witness stand, and people put up that expert up there, and then they read questions to them, and the witness answers, and the lawyer asking the questions has no idea what he was asking, and had no idea what the answer was, and I used to get up and just tear these people apart on cross-examination, because I did know. And I will know if I go to Congress. On the immigration front, I also know immigration law. During the Biden administration, I sued the Secretary of State. 2 weeks after, the Justice Department lawyer called me up and he said, we'll do what you want. I sued him in Washington, D.C. About a month later, I sued the head of the Homeland Security. I sued him right here in District Court in West Palm Beach. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the U.S. Attorney. We were more than happy to make your client an American citizen, which was all we were asking. So I know a little bit about this stuff. Let me just ask a quick show of hands. How many of you know how Donald Trump is stopping the flow of immigrants into this country? Besides Mark, whom I told, so that doesn't count. Sir?
How's he stopping it?
Yeah.
He's intimidation because of what's going on in this country with deporting people and how they're doing it. And they've got that zone along the border for, 20 miles or so that you can be arrested as a criminal. So there are various methods that he's used.
Okay. I hate to disagree with you, but I'm going to if you'll allow me. What you said there is exactly what Donald Trump wants you to believe. That he is cracking down. And by cracking down, these people are afraid to come across the border. I'm cracking down. And you know who likes that? The Republicans in our district. We've got to win over to vote for us. They like that. And it's not true. The reason, the way he's been able to stop this flow of immigrants on the border is by illegally stopping the processing of asylum applications.
Yes.
What has been driving the influx? And I spent a lot of time with my significant other who was telling me all the time about the terrible state that our immigration laws are in, and that's her fault because she's an immigration lawyer. What happens is the coyotes, and I, for what it's worth, I speak Spanish, I go to Barcelona, Mexico, so I pronounce coyotes correctly. So los coyotes are telling these people, get into my truck, I'm going to take you to the border. Oh, but we tried to swim across, they shoot us, and we'll die of cactus poisoning in it. No. You simply walk up to the border and you say to the nice border officer, I am here seeking asylum. Are you in the United States while you're seeking asylum? Yes. Okay then. But I ask you a couple of questions. Why are you seeking asylum? Well, because I was there today, and of course the coyotes tell them exactly what to say, and they let them in. That's what happened with the Biden administration. They came coveted by millions. So Trump has simply illegally stopped the processing. You come to the border now seeking asylum, you're turned away. So what happens? All these people that were getting in the coyote vans are not getting in the coyote vans. They're not going to pay some guy $10,000 to ride up to the border and be told you can't even be processed, go home. So if that's how he's accomplished this, but he's accomplished it by violating the law. You know who's talking about that? Besides me? Nobody. You don't hear it on the press. You don't hear it from our fellow Democrats. You don't hear anybody talking about that. Why? Because I guess it's too complicated for the American people to understand the asylum system. Not. But that apparently is how they feed us this stuff, so none of you knew that. And I consider you to be pretty much aware of what's going on. They're not telling us. What are you making noises for?
So basically, we need somebody in Congress who knows all of this stuff, and I don't think Brian Mast is that person.
He's not. Marcus, he didn't bring any of these, and I didn't know about, but if those of you who want the handouts.
All right.
And there's a provision.
Grab one of these on the way out, would you please?
Yes. And you can contribute, don't hesitate, I hate to ask for money, you can send $5, whatever. But if we don't have money, we can't do anything. But I think this is something we can't win because it's national in scope. The country knows we have to take it back, and we have to take back Florida if we're going to ever do anything to get this country in the right path. Because Florida is going to go.
And I just asked questions, have you filed yet?
No, not yet, because it's an exploratory. Okay, but we have plenty of time. We have plenty of time to file. And I have 5 minutes. Oh, my Lord. That's better than the last judge gave me.
For question, Q&A.
Couple more questions?
Yes, ma'am. I like your hat, Ms. Dudley.
Thank you. I think the word refugee has been taken out of circulation. And I think that's something that.
Well, refugee is asylum. That's part of the asylum.
Asylum is a word, but so is refugee, and they refuse to use that word.
Well, that's right. With that, let's give it, that's around for asylum, obviously, if you're a refugee. And incidentally, there is a solution to this thing about letting everybody in on asylum, and that is, our statute says in order to seek asylum, you have to be in the United States to do it. All they need to do is change that, the same way we change the green card, to say you apply in the embassy in your home country. Then the people who are serious about doing it will apply, and those who aren't won't. Okay.
All right, vote for it. So also on the way out, we've got these cards that migrants, undocumented people can use if they have somebody knocking on their door. It's basically their rights, whether they're going to need to answer the door or not. So we've got a bunch of these cards. Take one of those on the way out as well. And I'd like to introduce to you now Miss Claudia Mendoza. Claudia is going to speak about the plight of the migrant community right now and basically ways that we might be able to assist, but she mostly wants to highlight their current situation. Now, Claudia is the chair of the Palm Beach County Democratic Hispanic Caucus. I've known her for a number of years. She used to have a really great radio show that we contributed to. That's now gone by the wayside, but she is a vital member of that community. And welcome, Claudia.
Everyone, it's the first time I am out publicly talking. I was first. My name is Claudia Mendoza. I'm an immigrant. I'm a woman. I'm a mom. I am a business owner. But the most important thing is I'm an activist with our community. Since I discovered this politics here in United States, and I noticed that our community is so behind. Because we're behind, because we don't speak English, because it's not educated, because we have many immigrants. It's a lot of, through the years, it's a long list that is nonsense to don't be, ahead of time. But one thing that I have to say is I was delegate for the state of Florida in the convention, the Democratic Convention last year in Chicago, a year ago, and for me when we lost the election, it was like, oh, I was wrong. They did something wrong. I'm still in the process of recovering myself. I'm being honest. It's not, you are so brave. I'm not. I still believe that this is so wrong, that how come we lost, how come the people are so stupid that they won and we didn't. And one of the things after the first intervention is, they said, this is going to happen. They mentioned that a million times. They said Project 2025. Nothing of what is happening now, nobody knew. And this is the worst part, that we didn't happen. But on the other side, because now we are in this hell, because it's hell, When I hear you that you are, again, so great to go to protest, when Mark called me, I said, I can't. I wouldn't go and put in danger my life, my work, my family, because I'm an immigrant, even though I'm American. I'm a proud American. This year in October is going to be 15 years since I swear, and it was one of the most incredible moments in my life when I swear and I became American. And I'm still an immigrant. I'm still an immigrant. I'm still this face. I'm still all the things that our government today are against. And this is terrifying, simply terrifying. But one of the things that I know is a lot of laws to help, but I will just share with you what is happening when people are deported. Mom is deported, dad is deported. Most of the families that today are deported have kids. Those kids are American because we are still American. Those kids that are born here are still American. Those kids are in the limbo because if the parents are deported, all of you know, the kids stay here because they are minors. And if nobody is taking care of them, like the lawyer, legally, they will get into the system, the foster system, whatever is the name these days. And this is terrible because we are fighting against the law. We are fighting because they are breaking the law. We are fighting because they are bad. But what if we don't pay attention with the real thing? Kids and parents, they don't have anybody to go because, let's see, it's a group of people. All of the parents are undocumented. And then one parent is, and then you need to sign a power of attorney to take care of your kids. But all the people that are around you are undocumented. Who will sign a power of attorney to take care of your kids? That is happening. And kids are in the limbo. And parents in the other countries are thinking that, oh, maybe they will never see the kids. And this is terrible. This is the other side of the deportation. The government is against the law, is breaking the law, but who is taking care of those kids, those families, separated? Mom and the Guatemala, because some parents, they just got in the morning on the bus stop. Next day she called out, oh, I'm in Guatemala. And the dad is only waiting until he's get deported. And what are we going to do? How can we help? My point today of this conversation is let's help the organizations that are helping people in that situation. I don't know if you know, maybe yes, many of the organizations that are getting funds from grants or are getting outed. Outed because of dodgy, because of this, because you have organizations like the Man's Botanical Garden, a simple thing, but organizations like Guatemalan Mayan Center, like Centro Esperanza, are going to get outed, and they are checking what money. And what happened after that? Many organizations, they don't want to send money because they don't want to be, oh, you are helping these people, and these people are helping undocumented. And that is happening. Many of the funds are going out because nobody wants to be connected to help undocumented people. I just want to tell you, please, this is so important. Every time that I see, and I love dogs, I love them, I have two, but every time that I see a commercial, oh, let's have a payment a year for a dog, I just think, can you imagine if we can do that for kids that need power of attorney, that needs to be connected with parents? Can you imagine you with your kids sent away and your kids here? For me, it's personal. It's like nobody is talking about that. We are talking about the big thing, not that. We don't know the mechanics yet. And I'm not a lawyer, but I need, my place today is just to open your eyes. Open and listen. What can we do for kids that need to go home? And also, of course, hope for a better place for undocumented. On the other side is, what if we keep telling people, sending people out? Who will work? Who will work? I'm a contractor. I'm a construction business. I don't see a line in front of my office of American people, white people, black people, making a line. Hey, I want to put a roof, 12 in the morning, at noon, 106 degrees. I want it. I want to hang gravel. I don't see any people outside of my office.
Right.
But that's because and I can imagine the people who pick up the fruits and vegetables in Berkeley, putting out all the American people, oh, I want to be paid 50 cents per pound. But on the other hand, yes sir, I will answer you, but because we cannot change that, at least we can decide to help people who really need help. Those kids are here in Palm Beach. I can imagine that is happening everywhere. And because today, we don't know. When Mark invited me here, I said, okay, we'll start checking the numbers. There is no numbers, and you can imagine next to you, no. There is no numbers how many people have been deported. Where? But the most thing that I can say, based on what I learned, is just Latino people has been changed. Just people who speak Spanish. I don't see any, no offense, Irish people, Canadian people, Indian people, nobody of them has been sent anywhere. I mean one, but just Latino people. Where they go to pick them up? Home Depot, where they go work? Church. Meat plants, schools, and also I learned, I think in El País, it's a newspaper from Spain, they go to jail and they pick people that is in jail without papers. It's like, oh, it's so easy. I never heard about or read about one Latino selling drugs Friday night in West Palm Beach. No, they are working because that's what we do. Immigrants, we come to this country just to get a better life. No matter if at the end you get documented or not, you became citizen like me or not. We do the same. We are people. We're human. We are people that just want the best for our families and our future. But the future of this country, this is a country of immigrants. And it's not happening. And it's terrifying. It is terrifying, and I just want to share this with you because we need to take attention of that. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
One other problem that you didn't touch on, we're seeing it right now in Lakewood Beach. School attendance is down markedly because parents are afraid to walk their kids to school, so the kids are being kept out of school. American citizens, the children are citizens of this nation, and they're being kept out of their school because their parents are afraid of being arrested and separated and never seeing their kids again. They're keeping our kids out of school, which is another one of their goals, keep education out of the equation. So no one has to learn how to speak English, how to read, how to do math. It's absolutely criminal in this thing.
But I have another thing that I learned in one meeting that it was at the beginning of the year with the sheriff. He put like 600 people. I don't know where did they get that many immigrants in one room. And they said, no, we don't have any issue with the immigrants. We don't worry, go to school, go to the hospitals. And then one of the lawyers said, but you're not signing the affidavit. The story of this case is many women, because most of the women are suffering of violence, domestic violence. I can imagine men, but most are women, and they are able to request citizen or residence, because if you prove that you are in the middle of violence, and they give you the process to get a residence. But it takes longer. It takes a long time to be a resident because that is the process. But if you're arrested or you're detained by ICE, you can show, hey, I have this in process. And the police, or not the ICE, but the police are in the authority, I don't know the right term, but are in the authority to sign an affidavit. Like it says, yes, this lady, Maria Perez, yeah, she is on the process of this visa because of, and I said, no. The police is not helping either. They have the power to save some women to be deported just because they are in the process. They already passed, but it's just about time. And yeah, that happened too. But if you go to the hospital or anywhere, it's not easy even for us to go because the people look. We go to a restaurant, we speak in Spanish, and the people look kind of like. And I said, really? In 2025, you are still surprised that people speak Spanish? It's so wrong. But that's why. That happened. Yes?
Yes. I feel badly for you and the Hispanic community is being racially profiled. I don't care what they say they are. They hear Spanish, they seem to look like so and so on. But in 1970, I was a citizenship attorney. I can tell you that once you became naturalized, you are a U.S. citizen, and you have the same rights as everybody else as a citizen except you can't run for president. But other than that, you're naturalized, you're a U.S. citizen, and they shouldn't be bothering you, but I understand that they may.
Question? I was just going to comment on something Claudia says. What we're seeing in our jails is that while law enforcement isn't actively arresting anybody just simply to then have them deported, what they're doing instead is arresting them for open containers, right? The most minor municipal ordinances. And then once they get in the jail, like Claudia said, ICE is going through the list within minutes to see who is undocumented. So one thing you can do, and something I've done, is I've asked chiefs of police, are you doing that? Are you arresting people for open containers? Like having a beer in your driveway or on the street is considered, for most cities, that's a municipal violation. But we never saw that before. We never saw those people going to jail before. If anything, they were given a ticket and saying, hey, go to court in a month. But instead, they're physically arresting them, and then you're seeing the ICE folks go through the list day after day, sometimes within minutes. And then they're now on the list for ICE, and they're being deported or sent to Chrome or wherever. So, you want to get active with your local legislators and ask law enforcement, is that what you're doing and why? I think that's one way to push back on them. Maybe they'll get a conscience and stop doing that. But that's something we see every day.
But just let me say this. One of the things that you are giving this information is that our community are not aware of that. We are following the news. Oh yeah, there's a bad president, but we're not going to the really problem. And that is a problem here that we can help. I see many, and I will say this, many Republican, Hispanic Republican, which I don't know how you can be bullied. You can fix stupid, you can't. But the point is, they are so, every time they invite the sheriff, oh, let's talk about the community and immigration. They said, what are you doing? How come you invite the sheriff when you support someone who said that I will deport people, but you want to ask the sheriff? And they never mention that. They never mention kids are in the limbo. People, ICE is getting that. They just want to do the picture, oh, we are doing for the community. And that is our conversation that we need. We need everybody to talk the real problem of immigration. Because I don't know how long it will be, a year, when the economy is down, because we don't have people to work. What are we going to do? When the millionaires, owners of business, are stepping out like, hey, my hotel is not working, my business bigger than me is not, I don't know if that is going to happen, and we'll change that, this conversation, but we need to go to the real human side of this situation. Yeah.
One of the things that Palm Beach Indivisibles is doing, we've teamed up with some of the other indivisible groups in Palm Beach County. It's called the Palm Beach County Palm Beach County Indivisible Immigration Coalition. And what we're after is, again, we're talking about the 287G agreements. We're going to be asking all of the community, our members, to do emails, texts, letters, phone calls to, it's going to be a 3-part process. The first part is to Rick Bradshaw. That's going to be the first effort. The second effort will be to county commissioners, and then the third effort will be to elected officials and municipality police departments. We're working on that. We've got a call script. We put it out in our newsletter about that particular committee, and it's in the process right now. Later this, actually, the first couple of weeks of September is going to be the first part of reaching out to Rick Bradshaw. And basically, it's going to be like Mr. Eisinger said, you know, what are you doing? How deeply involved are you with this 287G agreement? And, you know, can you keep it within bounds and make it, you know, human recognition of the human rights of these people, for crying out loud. I mean, it's really like what Claudia was saying. There's not Canadians that are being deported. There's not, white Europeans. It's mostly, Hispanic people, and that's troubling. So anyway, to move along with our program here, I'd like to introduce Miss Edith Bush. She is a icon of the community. She helped get the Martin Luther King Memorial put on Flagwood Drive. I believe you're a member of the NAACP, right?
I'm
Still a member. She is, just somebody who we reach out to and inspires us because of her activism over the years. She is a resource that Palm Beach County we appreciate. So I'd like to introduce Ms. Edith Bush.
Get the chair.
I will start at the rostrum.
Okay.
She's going to start at the rostrum.
To have been invited here today, because our community will need you too. I'm 93 years old. I graduated from Bethune-Cookman College, and I've gone through segregation. And for those of you who know that I've written a book, you'll know about what some of the things we've gone through. The Martin Luther King Landmark Memorial on Flag. How many of you know where that is? This is why I want to be here. You need to help us, because if our community could get more involved in what we are doing, if there were access to the site. Now, they are upgrading, they said, Central Park. Curry Park. Curry Park. And former Commissioner Martha, you know where we're coming from, because she was there, and Commissioner Gregory. This is our 44th year with the Martin Luther King Landmark Memorial. And we need access for people to visit down there, because there are bricks down there. Our organization comprises just about every other denomination in the country. Sorority, fraternity, club, churches, organizations, whatever. And they've got bricks down there, names on the wall. Now, the repair of Curry Park. If you notice, the tennis court is way north. The boat ramp is way north. They have fenced in the landmark. And we have requested that, okay, you fenced it in, and that's good. We like that park, but then the homeless, not in there. But there are people who want to visit. And all you need to do is to put a sign up there and say, if you would like to tour the site, tell us when, how many people, how long, whatever. We did, we told them that. The city, Christine Ward, whatever. And then, and talk to the mayor's office. And you know what they tell us? If we do that, and we send someone down there to let you in and everything like that, we have to pay overtime. Come on! Now that's why I'm glad I'm here with you today. If you will call the office, the mayor's office, there's another people down there, there's the commissioner's office, tell them to put a sign down there, and then limit the thing. And so and then the tennis court and everything like that, and the landmarks down here, at least until they do something, or when they get there, let visitors go there. And we could have a rally there.
Yeah.
Yes. You could have a rally there. Yes. I forget what organization I was a member in, but we had rallies there. And Chris says, and now I'm talking about the involvement of the African American community. Well, that would be bring some of the islands and everybody else. There are 87 nationalities or more in this county. And I know that I've been on some of the boards and everything like that. So that's what I'm happy to be here with you, to ask you to help request access to that site for groups that may have their family reunions here, their conventions, or whatever. But we need access to that site. Because when I saw the last information, according to them, it'll be closed till 2027 until they finish. And that doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
And then I was told one time that when they get close to the site, if someone was down there and the construction, something from the construction hurt one of the people, that the city would be responsible. But you know what I found out? Right now, the city's taxpayers are paying over $25,000 a month to keep the mold out of the sunset. And that sunset is not finished, and I know it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to open a landmark memorial to the public. So whatever you can do, we would appreciate you doing it.
I just wanted to add, it's absurd. I saw that fence go up because I bike by there all the time. And all they have to do is open up the side to go in the thing. It's not like they have to, make a, bring in the people especially. All they have to do is move the fence around so it's open and people have access. So I'll be putting in a call to Mr. Mayor and Mrs.
But we want them to send some security down there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We did.
But they can change the configuration of the fence.
Right.
It's full. Sorry, it's full.
Right.
So I'm on it. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
I'll throw that in. Yeah.
Someone asked if I were a member of the NAACP. Yes. My father, my home state is Alabama. My father was the president of the NAACP there, and he made sure there were 6 of us in our family and everybody. We voted when we got of age, high school, college, whatever age it was. And he attended the funeral of Dr. King. So that's how I think I got involved. And there is a community center named in Andalusia, named after my father. So, and also, the NAACP, well, I told you my age already, so you know. I was at Bethune-Cookman in 1953 when Harriet and Harry Moore, who were members of the NAACP in Mims, it was a Christmas, December, and they were at an NAACP meeting in Mims, organizing voters and getting people to vote and everything. And that was on Christmas, December, January, that was an upcoming election. That Christmas night, the night before Christmas, they were encouraging people to register and vote. And when they left that meeting and went home, the KKK was waiting and killed both of them. So if you have never been to Mims, please go. You will be fascinated with that. The museum, the site is built on what they used to say 40 acres and a mule. But it is a huge, beautiful museum. The house has been renovated that they were shot in and everything like that. So that's what the NAACP, hopefully we can do that in April. The NAACP now, we are sponsored, we will be having a freedom dinner on the 21st of September at the marina. So we'd like for you to come there. That is it. Okay, all right. That's my life thing right there. Okay, my other interest is voting and gun control. Now, I want to share some information. That's why I had to stand up. Because I had to put this information here. And I want to share it with you. The other day, school shootings at the Catholic school. I mean, you're going to put that on a trans child when you don't want to address gun control? Don't tell me that. I mean, it doesn't matter. You want to do a church, you know? I mean, come on. School shooting by country. Listen to this. Japan, I'm going 2025, okay? 2025. And we ain't even out. We're not even out of 2025. But listen, the country. School shooting by country. 2025. Japan, 0. South Korea, 0. Finland, 0. Australia, 0. United Kingdom, 0. Germany, 1. China, 1. France, 2. Russia, 2. Canada, 2. China, Brazil, 2. Pakistan, 4. South Africa, 6. Mexico, 8. United States, 288. Now come on, people. That is unreal. And then you got, I think, in Tallahassee, talking about reduce the gun violence, violent age. Come on. So we've got a lot to do. A lot to do. Gun control. I mean, you know, but when I was growing up, the guns were behind the front door. You didn't look at them. It was for hunting, you know, the birds, not shooting. And now they want to have. So we don't want that. So we have been through a lot. That's it. All right, I'm a member of the Equal Justice Initiative that was founded by Brian Stevenson, who wrote Just Mercy. And we are planning a trip to Montgomery pretty soon to see the 900 plaques of the lynched people in this country. And we don't want that to happen anymore. And we don't, people think, it's almost like now, you feel like it's a nightmare. We wouldn't think we would be at this situation at all. So I'm going to use the date about our Martin Luther King Gregory, January 19th. Put that on the calendar, because we ain't going nowhere. Okay? And the theme is building bridges, not walls. All of this crazy stuff happening and no due process. That's crazy. I mean, separating families like they're doing. That's unbelievable. And then making excuses for the lies they are telling. You know, you read the paper, oh, the schools, we're going to have to close the school because we don't have schools. No, you're taking them the wrong way and sending them out the country. So come on, don't make an excuse for your lives. And voting. I asked myself that if I could pass these out, I mean, pass them out. But she said, we'll get it. No, we don't have enough.
We don't have enough?
She's going to get it she's going to get it in a certain way, she told me. In the last 5 years, there are 24 states making it more difficult for people to vote. And the system does take advantage of uninformed voters. Yes. If you don't know the small print, they will take advantage of it. Here are the states like Alabama. Alabama expands the list of crimes that emphasize otherwise eligible voters. Makes it a crime to assist a voter in obtaining or returning a ballot application in some instances. I mean, some of the saddest things in Louisiana restricts voter registration assistance offered by civic engagement groups. And, you know, the League of Women Voters and other people used to go to organization places, and I know we used to register people from our church, but you can't do that anymore. So there are other states, Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Florida. Florida enables prosecution of people with past convictions who mistakenly voted or registered to vote while ineligible. Instead of putting a plan so they can vote, you're going to punish them right away. You're not going to give them a way to earn that right back. That's not right. So, Louisiana, Idaho, Missouri, New Mexico, North Carolina, and the people don't know what House bills are. If you don't read the small print about House bill, it'll take away your right in a minute, and you don't even know it. And so there are other ones. So that is my concern today, that voting rights and gun control and access to the Martin Luther King landmark. Those are mine.
Do you have any questions for Ms. Edith Bush? Going once, going twice.
Thank you.
Okay, we won't have stuff to hand out, but the various events that she talked about, the trip and the dinner, we'll put that out in our next newsletter going forward.
Thank you, Ms. Bush.
Okay, so it's 3:30. We wanted to end the meeting with some breakout sessions. We have a postcard writing area, and we're also going to have a protest sign making workshop at the end of the tables here. And we also, I wanted to just tell you what we've been involved with over the last couple of months. We started an audio and video testimonial series. We're also speaking with some other people about maybe doing a podcast. We have one that we shared already via YouTube and on our website. So we're working on that as a way to get out information about how people have been affected by current policy, and kind of like an overarching theme is how did we get here? You know, how did we get here to where fascism is basically creeping up at our doorstep, and we're having to bat it away. I mentioned too the immigration, Indivisible Immigration Coalition, so that's coming down the pipe over the next couple of weeks, and then it's going to be, over the next few months, where we'll go from phase 1, Rick Bradshaw, phase 2 is county commission, phase 3 is elected officials and municipalities. The Resistance Art Action Team, like I said, we need participants for the Boca demonstration September 5th. That's at the FAU campus. So we'll Stephanie Camp speak to her. If you're interested, it's a very simple silent flash mob type thing. It'll be like a 10-minute thing, and it's designed to get people's awareness and attention to what's going on. We have also, that Resistance Arts Action Team made these signs. We deployed the 15th of August. We had a little bit of problem with the police the last time out. We did add the white letters, so we don't need to, the first time we just deployed, it was just the lights. And I think somebody who helped make them was suggesting that if you want to,
Let me speak for that.
What?
Let me speak for a moment.
Okay, so she's going to speak on that in a moment, Michelle. And the Neighbor Network for Good Government, which is the Get Out the Vote thing, we're working on updating the PowerPoint and the video, and it's something that we want to be able to help impact the 2026 midterm elections. Upcoming, we have the Avello continuing thing at the airport. Next one is September 27th. I think it's on the board back there. We have tomorrow, big Labor Day thing on PGA Boulevard, 10 a.m. to noon, with our partners, North County Speaking Up for America, which is our indivisible group in the Palm Beach Gardens area. So we're teaming up with them. So anyway, going to have Michelle say a couple of words about our light project.
Also, Leah and Ezra are announcing.
So we're counting on you guys. I'm the treasurer of this fine organization. Been involved with Indivisibles since 2016, and known Mark now for going on almost a decade. So it's a great organization. We've got some history, and we are always gathering more tools. And so we appreciate all of you for coming out today and for coming out to our protest. So the first thing I'm going to speak to is the sign. So Stephanie, you want to say that, and everybody knows who Stephanie is? There's Stephanie. So she's the Rat Pack. She's the Rat Pack leader. And so the idea was to come up with these signs that this is illuminated, and in the back we put it around the back. I have my little miniature baton. Where's the hole? Oh, it's in the front. Hold on this. There's instructions. I didn't read them, of course. There it is. So you just have to tap it. Okay, you tap it. My fine Vanna White is what you tap it. If you tap it, and it's your portable little Christmas light movies, and there's a battery pack in the back. Hopefully this will be a cooperating participant. Anyway, so we choose the solid bright, and then it goes on, and the batteries last a long time. So we built these in Mark's garage. There are about a dozen of us, and we put some outlets on top, and now we've added this lovely cord, so we can actually wear them. So when we were out at the first deployment of this, we were in a cage, rollover cage, over Central Boulevard. Hey! And so it made an impact, but we discovered that you really couldn't see it until the sun went down. So well, in the summertime, it's lighter, so we went back and we recovered the leather so now you can see it. And we could also deploy this in daytime or nighttime. Woo! These take labor, these take money to build. So we probably have about 20, 25 bucks in each of these signs. Every letter, there's your investment. So I came up with the idea today, and I've already ratified by leadership, and so we're going to roll this out. And I will buy the first letter. We're going to have sponsorship of a letter. And with that opportunity, for 25 bucks, you can sponsor this notary letter and all the batteries that take to support it, and you get to autograph the back of your letter. So that's what we're going to roll out today, to do some fundraising, because we're still in the red, we spend money, you know, our others have pulled out of their pocket, and we love that, but we need to make them whole. So selling t-shirts is how we do that, selling stickers and all that. All of this is through the generosity of people, and we hope that you can find.
How much a letter? How much a letter?
25 bucks a letter. I buy the letter,
What letters do you have so far?
release all FC files. We got 22 letters. All right, so can you start to sign up over there? And we're going to sell some money. Okay.
We're going to sell the tea.
So anyway, I got a Sharpie, you can sign your letter today. So now, the second thing. So Friday, we were going to do our second deployment this past Friday. So originally, I live in Lantana. So originally, it's now the overpass. Okay, the overpass on High Fluxo. And I thought there was a cage or this offensive in practice. No, I was wrong. So again, roll that back. We decided to deploy back on Central. So we did that again this past Friday night. It was out to storm. The cop rolls up and says, "Oh, there's this thing called 479, blah, 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 blah." Oh, inventory. Okay. And so he advised us that his admin had said we can't do this anymore, so now we're back here talking to ACLU and seeing what's allowed and not allowed. But it's classified. So we're going to start doing this. If we have to walk across that bridge back and forth a hundred times, we'll do that. We are also scoping out other launches for other areas. So keep us posted if you spot an opportunity where we can launch safely.
All right, before we go to the back sessions there, quick Emily Gregory, candidate, just say hello, Emily. We've got a special election coming up, State House.
Hi, everyone. I heard there was a rumor I have COVID. I do not have COVID. I don't know.
Where's Victoria Smith?
On the sign-in sheet it says Emily Gregory. No COVID. I have handouts here with my QR code. I am looking for volunteers to canvass, phone bank, renew vote by mail the election. Mr. DeSantis hasn't given us a date, but it is like December or January we expect. So we are going to flip House District 87. It's very exciting. If you live in Southern Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, North Palm, very coastal, downtown West Palm, downtown Lake Worth, very long, skinny district, I definitely need you to vote. We need to help people renew vote by mail. I'm going to leave these on the back table. Please take one. I am really excited about this opportunity. I'm running on 3 issues under affordability, property insurance, healthcare accessibility, and public education. And we all agree that all 3 of these systems are broken, and let's do it.
Yeah, Caruso. It's vacated because he was appointed as clerk of court, Mike Caruso. So anyway, so make some posters and or do some postcards. And thank you everybody for coming.